Alrighty, Tuesday, April 2nd. Let's break down today's action with a session recap. So, coming into today's session, starting off with ES here, looking at the hourly chart, intermediate structure. Coming into today's session, the main watch when we had chatted this morning during the pre-market prep live stream was how price was going to be trading versus this near-term support zone and then this intermediate term support zone. So you have near term, which is just going to be kind of that local structure right there. And then we have the intermediate, which is looking back a few weeks. And the significance of this actual area down here, the 5257 level of interest, where you see this blue zone on the chart, that was the prior all-time high. That's where we saw the FOMC move trigger the daily breakout. And so that area is going to hold some significance for the current structure. Now, coming into the actual open, if we take a look at the pre-market action, here's kind of your best clue. Here's all pre-market, this blue, where this blue shaded area starts, that's the regular trading hours session. So pre-market is telling us that there's no buyers to be found, right? There is not a bounce that is going to be tradable anywhere through here, 5275, right? We had talked about that being as an area where buyers may show up. And then 5257, we chatted about that as an area where buyers may turn up as well. So pre-market is telling us no buying activity, right? That prior breakout point is not holding us support. It's getting flushed. And so one of the things I'd mentioned, again, just to reiterate, because it's very important during the pre-market prep live stream, was that if this structure failed, if the 5257 level of interest failed, you do not want to be grabbing any longs until either after 10 a.m. or with some type of favorable structure. That's going to be like some type of higher low, something like that. So what does that tell us? We're going to be sitting on our hands until, at the very least, 10 a.m. Assuming you want to grab longs. Now, if you want to slap some shorts off the open, that's quite all right? This is a nice opening drive type of trade with the failed breakout. You can get short. You can use this little bit of a bounce here, right through here as kind of your anchor point to get short, and you can short this into that 5237 downside level of interest. What I'm going to do personally, because I'm focused on longs currently, is just wait for the 10 a.m. reversal time, which panned out quite nicely in both ES and NQ. We'll look at NQ in a bit. Or wait for some type of structural shift. And by that, I mean some type of higher low, right? Something like this, or some type of Wyckoff spring like we see through here. And that marks the session low. That's going to keep you out of a lot of trouble. And the point is, don't fade the directional move before 10 a.m., especially when you have the higher time frame structure showing you that there is some type of failed breakout, right? You have a key area of support failing to hold. Okay, longs are red flag until you have that intraday structure develop. So that's an easy way to keep yourself out of trouble, right? As price comes in, starts to trade down into that 5237, we do see some receptive buyers there, and that pretty much marks the low for the session. And the significance of that level, because it was pretty accurate, is let's take a look right here. Well, we have the pre-FOMC. Notice this is a range. You have the volume point of control right through there. Right. It has since shifted a little higher, but you could see this kind of, that little point right through there where my cursor is all volume profile, right? So the volume point of control was right through there. Generally speaking, on the higher time frames, that is going to be a solid reference point. If price is coming from above or below, you want to be looking at that volume point of control, and it can serve as either an area of support or resistance. Another notable thing here on the ES chart that's worth discussing right now, or at least sharing, is the fact that there is a big volume void right through here. So price tends to travel very quickly through these volume voids. You see the FOMC move, price travels quickly through that volume void, we retrace that move, travels quickly, right? So keep that in mind for future reference, especially, if you're looking at some level that may be through a big volume void. Like, for example, let's say you have a level here at 5265. We don't have a lot of volume there to back that up. And this is volume through price. So it may not be that significant of a level. These are tools that you can use to kind of aid your analysis and really get an understanding of where you want to get involved. Because the name of the game is knowing what you want to see prior to the session even opening. And then when the session opens, just waiting for that game plan to pan out and executing accordingly. So as far as what we're going to be looking at for tomorrow on ES, we can see that this significant level 5237 held as support is definitely going to be a key area of support moving forward. Now the challenge here is that price is back into that prior breakout point, right? So the 5257 definitely a significant level. What I'm more interested in today is the fact, and we actually have to flip to the SPY chart to see this, but we do have what is shaping up to be a hammer. Let me rescale this so you can actually see it. We do have a daily hammer on the SPY chart here, right at the 21 MA. So buyers definitely have an opportunity here to show some strength up through today's high, today's regular trading hours high. And so that's going to be the most significant level of tomorrow's session. Again, depending on, as always, the overnight action and how active that pre-market and overnight session is. So I'll be looking to establish risk versus today's high if we are granted that opportunity. Again, depending on the overnight action. Preliminarily, that's going to be the first watch, today's high. So looking to see if today's buyers are going to show a continuation move up through today's high, potentially close that gap, right? Now, if sellers are successful in defending this gap, the structure can start to shift pretty quickly, right? As of right now, you can kind of see price ever since November has just been riding this 21 MA higher. So the trend, despite today's gap down, the trend is still intact. The trend is still pointing up. So let's see. It's just, do buyers continue to defend this area? TBD. And that's what I'll be looking to assess tomorrow on ES. And NQ is going to be quite similar. Let's break down this NQ action. So NQ was a little bit different, simply because if we look at the near term, we do have the structure, right? Few sessions, 6-7 sessions, just sideways, pretty tight through here, overlapping daily bars. Now this morning, you have price triggering a breakdown of that near-term structure. However, zoom out, where are we? Well, we're still just within a larger range. NQ has just been sideways for months now. And where do we catch a bid? Down into that intermediate term volume point of control. This is the hourly chart, right? Just zooming out so you could see the volume profile, because that's the most significant thing here. So most of the volume from the past, we'll just call it 2 months, has transacted here at 18,282, including today's session. So it's again, significant level. So we see that move lower overnight or during pre-market, and we want to be looking for an area where buyers, again, are going to be receptive, and that was versus that 18,200. So you had the volume point of control there. It was near 18,265, 18,200. You mark the low. Pretty good action following that, right? And you can just, you don't need to be trading the open or that data print or anything. You could just wait for a higher low to develop right through here. It's probably going to be one of the easiest trades of the entire session. Or later in the morning, if you want to get long versus what was the session volume point of control, another phenomenal long. Right? Now, if you're thinking short, if you want to short today, it's a little bit trickier because price is coming into support, but you can use this opening structure like I talked about in ES, right? Or something like this. Good signal bar there. But focus for me today was on long, simply based on that location, and then the big gap lower. As far as tomorrow, we have 18,320, probably going to be the main reference point to be leaning on for tomorrow's session. And again, I bring your attention to QQQ simply because it is easier to visualize the regular trading hours daily chart when we look at the actual ETF, in this case QQQ. So QQQ gapped down into all of the range volume point of control here. You see the yellow line. So most of the volume on triple Qs is transacted at 438.4. Look at today's low, pretty much right through there. Now you have the hammer bar. So we'll see again if buyers can show that continuation up through today's high, and that makes it very simple for us as traders. One horizontal line that we'll be focusing on, and then establishing our game plan based on the reaction versus today's high. So that's ES and NQ. Quick note on NQ, it looks like it did just about test that 50 MA as well. So I don't put a lot of significance on these moving averages personally, but I do keep them on the chart because I know many traders look at these things. So I just like to use that as kind of a reference point. So NQ into that 50 MA there and then holding. But again, look at the difference between that NQ daily bar, right? Because that's a 24-hour or 23-hour candle versus QQQ. This is regular trading hours, so big difference. As far as individual names, the list remains quite light. We have CRM, relative strength. If you focus on trading individual names, you always want to be paying attention to the stocks that are holding well when the index is down. That's known as relative strength. So that's CRM today. Datadog, relative strength, lower volume on both of these, but noteworthy. And then MU, we had this on watch today, didn't trigger, likely due to the index weakness, but there's an inside day on big volume. So I'll be looking for the inside day break there on MU tomorrow. Hope everyone had a good sesh. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow morning for the live stream. Have a good afternoon. Later.